Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to dive more into the Thunder Kings matchup tonight. We'll talk about it. We're going to also talk about Chet's season leap so far and how well he's done. And now, with the Wemby injury, Chet is actually the favorite to win DPOY of the year, so we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the Jada rumors on when he could possibly return to the Thunder. And then we'll, at the end, kind of shout out Sam Presti for making the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. It was a week or so ago, but we're just now getting around to it, and we'll kind of talk about that towards the end of the video. But before we get going, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button down below. It helps out the channel so much, and it's completely free. So if you guys are a daily viewer of the videos or just a big Thunder fan, please hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel and me so very much. But we're going to get into this Kings and Thunder matchup tonight, and this is, like we said in yesterday's video, this is a game that the Thunder should handle pretty easily. This is our third time playing the Kings already in 15 or so games. They're 3-11, really struggling, just like the New Orleans Pelicans when we played them when they were 2-10. The Kings aren't that much better at 3-11, so this is another one of those bottom tier teams in the Western Conference. And as we're kind of going through this, we got some news before I came on here with a couple of Thunder insiders that Domantas Sabonis will be out for this game and Keegan Murray. So realistically, probably two of their three best players are going to be out for this one. So this just feels like another Thunder dominant victory where I would almost put money on it once again that Shai doesn't play the fourth quarter, and at that point, it would be 10 games out of 16 already that Shai would not have to play the fourth quarter, which is just absolutely insane to say out loud. But, I mean, that's just the world we live in with just how good this Thunder team is. That's how it's going to go when you're playing these bottom feeder teams and you have the greatest defense of all time. You're possibly going to have the greatest regular season record of all time and going to be up there with one of the greatest teams of all time if you can finish this off. This is what's going to happen when you play against the Kings, the Pelicans, all these teams towards the bottom of the conference. You're going to win by that much, and when you can get Shai that extra quarter of rest, you're going to do that 10 out of 10 times. So fully expect us to be up by 20 plus come the fourth quarter. Shai obviously sets the start of every fourth quarter, and then if we're just continuing to add to that lead or if it's staying at a stagnant 20 points, there's no reason to bring him back in. If they go on a run, you bring Shai back in for a few minutes or few spot minutes and kind of get him a few more buckets and then kind of put it out of hand. But once again, the Kings are coming into Oklahoma City, so expect a big game from Russell Westbrook. He always plays hard, and without Keegan Murray, without Sabonis, they're going to have scoring from somewhere. Zach LaVine's their leading scorer, so I would expect to see a lot from Westbrook and Zach LaVine on the shooting side of things. But once again, this should be a game that the Thunder handle pretty easy to move to 15, 16-1 and just continue their dominant start to this season. And another reason the Thunder are so good and are really off to an amazing start is the season leap from Chet Holmgren. And Chet right now is averaging 19.9. We'll round up to 20 pretty much. He's averaging 8 rebounds. He's averaging a block and a half. And his shooting efficiency has looked so much better compared to over the past couple of seasons that he's played. And that's really the big thing. If he can be a much more efficient scorer, he doesn't necessarily have to go out there and score 30. That's not what we're looking. But if he can give us 18 to 22 points every single night with 8 to 10 rebounds on really good efficiency, we're going to take that 10 out of 10 times. And really the big key that Chet has kind of unlocked on his offensive game is that turnaround fade away. And that has really been a move he's gone to a lot when he's kind of in that mid-range to paint area. He does the turnaround spin move and fade away, and it's looking really good so far. And if that can be his signature move, that's going to be almost impossible to really block when you're 7'2" and you have the wingspan of Chet. If he can get that down to an art, and it can almost look like a Dirk Nowitzki one-legged fadeaway where he's just too tall, he's going to put it to where pretty much nobody on the planet other than Victor Wembanyama could have a chance to block that. So we're really seeing great things from Chet on all fronts, especially on the offensive side. But once again, we always talk about how Chet, and the reason the Thunder drafted him is the defensive and rim protecting from him. We know that anything you get from him on the offensive end, you want really him to grow into that. But we know what we get on the defensive side. One of the best shot blockers in the entire NBA. He's right now kind of having a down year on the blocking numbers, but still a block and a half. And now with this Victor Wembanyama strained calf, and you know how careful the Spurs are going to be about bringing that back, because you know what strained calves lead to. Ask Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton in Game 7. The Spurs are not going to want to rush Wembanyama back at any point. They're going to make sure it's completely healed, because one wrong move and it's not just done for part of this season. It's possibly done for not only the rest of this season, but possibly even most of next season, and kind of sets the Spurs back a year and a half at that point. So the Spurs are going to be really careful with that. And now with the 65-game minimum on awards, Chet has leapfrogged Victor Wembanyama into becoming the favorite to win the Defensive Player of the Year, and rightfully so. It's always been the Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, and I believe Evan Mobley is second behind Chet now. Victor's still third, because maybe there's a chance he gets back before he misses the 17 games, because you do 65 plus 17, that gets you your 82-game season. And that's not even counting missing 17 games, but when he comes back, there could be chances where maybe he has to take a night off or something. So it just really feels like he's going to have another unfortunate injury where it's going to set him back and not allow him to win another Defensive Player of the Year. But his kind of loss is Chet's gain. Now Chet can go out there. If Chet can get those blocking numbers up to around 2 blocks per game, maybe get a steal per game, and be the anchor of the greatest defense of all time, I think Chet, without a doubt, will win Defensive Player of the Year. And that will just be crazy to say, because you'll have Shea in the MVP running. You're going to have a possible Defensive Player of the Year, a possible sixth-man or even most improved. And it just feels like the Thunder are going to rack up so many awards. Mark Dagnall, if the Thunder win 70 games, I don't see why Mark Dagnall wouldn't win Coach of the Year. Sam Presti will most likely win Executive of the Year. So the Thunder are just really going to go for every single award. Even Clutch Player of the Year, you could give it to Shea. I mean, Shea doesn't play fourth quarters at this point, but still when he needs to play those fourth quarters, and he has, look at what he's done. He's made shots in the clutch against the Rockets on opening night. So once again, Chet having that big season leap, and now he's the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. But now we'll talk about J-Dub and the question mark coming into tonight against the Kings. And as we're talking about this, Aaron Wiggins remains out, and J-Dub is still out for this King game. And right now there's just no update on J-Dub. As we're kind of talking, and I'm talking to some of my Thunder guys, that it just feels like right now they're not wanting to push anything with the way this team's playing, that you don't need to risk anything. If it takes J-Dub getting to 100% and he's not ready to play until Christmas Day, they're not going to put him out there. And when you're 15-1 going on 16-1, there's no reason to rush him back whatsoever. He's already going to miss out on his awards, so you're not even worried about him trying to get back and get an All-NBA team or whatever that might be. You just want him to be 100%. So coming out on the other side of the calendar year in 2026, you have J-Dub and you get him back and going. So obviously we want him to be back tonight for the Kings, especially on a City Edition jersey night. That's once again another thing. The Thunder will have their City Edition jerseys tonight against the Kings. You want to see him in that, but right now the Thunder are taking it very slowly and taking it step by step. And obviously we hope he can be back maybe even this weekend against the Jazz, or maybe even next week when we get the Timberwolves in a group cup play. But as of right now, there's really no news on when J-Dub will return. It could be as soon as the next game, or it could be as far away as they really want to, because they're not going to rush this and put risk at J-Dub injuring that wrist even more, especially on the shooting wrist. That can be a cause for a lot of problems. And just the way the Spurs are going to be careful with Wemby and that calf trade, the Thunder have no reason to rush J-Dub back, especially with the way this team is playing. They could very easily be 16-0, 17-0 without that one loss and just be cruising along. So as of right now, J-Dub is not expected to play against the Kings. We'll have to see going into this weekend if we get any news whatsoever. But as of right now, J-Dub will not be playing against the Sacramento Kings. But we'll wrap up this video kind of shouting out our general manager, Sam Presti. And over the weekend, Sam Presti earlier this week got inducted into the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, just Oklahoma in general. And I think most people would agree he has rightfully earned that. He's brought so much to not just the state of Oklahoma, but mainly Oklahoma City, being able to get that Paul George trade done, just everything he's done for the Oklahoma City Thunder and helping bring that championship to Oklahoma has done so much for the state. It brought so much money when we were hosting the NBA Finals and all that, especially on the financial side. So putting Sam Presti in the Oklahoma Hall of Fame feels right, and it was the right move. He went out there and gave a speech, and it's the right move, and we don't know what we would do without Sam Presti. Sam Presti now at this point, especially if the Thunder somehow get a top 5 pick in this upcoming draft with how stacked it is, I think most people will agree by the time his tenure's done and all things are said that he will most likely become the greatest GM of all time, just with what he's been able to do with the Paul George trade and just being able to get endless second round draft picks like AJ Mitchell, Aaron Wiggins, and even Jay Williams out of the second round to be really good role players for a team that's going to be one of the greatest teams of all time, if not the greatest team of all time. It's just amazing what he's been able to do, and now he's going to be forever sketched into the Oklahoma State as an Oklahoma Hall of Famer. So shout out to Sam Presti. Can't wait to see what else he has in store, not only for this season, but into the future of the Oklahoma City Thunder. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. Comment, what do you think? When do you think J-Dub will return? I'm kind of interested to see. Are you guys want him to come back, or do you understand the fact of they're not wanting to risk it? And as long as the Thunder are winning, there's really no point of risking bringing J-Dub back before he's ready and farthering that injury. But you guys will have to let me know down below. But that'll be it for me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.